Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Bible presentation in the campaign entitled Have You Read the Signs? These are the signs concerning the coming of Jesus. And I hope you've seen our campaign, our leaflets and our posters, and there's an exhibition here on my right which goes through the essential message that we're seeking to deliver to the local inhabitants of this part of Essex. So this is our first session of 3 this evening, and it concerns itself with the political signs of Jesus' coming. And there will be 2 more presentations later in the week, one on Wednesday and one on Friday, and I'll confirm the details of those, God willing, at the end of our session together today. So I'm delighted to introduce our speaker for this evening, Mr. Raymond Ford, who's going to speak on this subject of the political signs that Jesus is coming.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Paul. As has been indicated, this is the first of 3 addresses, and whilst the display boards highlight those 3 addresses, we'd like just to summarise as a means of giving context to our consideration this evening. Again, as you can see, the link with the picture on the board, we have the political signs, the moral signs, and the religious signs. As far as our presentation is concerned this evening, we are to deal with the first of those, which is the political signs. Again, linking in with the things that you see on the display board, we have one of the slides here just highlighting the fact that the world is desperately in need of a solution to the problems that are constantly presented to us through the news media. As it reads there, most thoughtful people agree that the world cannot continue as it is doing currently. Despite best attempts over many millennia, human beings have completely failed to provide lasting solutions to the world problems. Daily news media bombards us with evidence that things are actually getting worse, not better, and that something needs to drastically change. So that links in with the message that is conveyed on the display boards that you see to my right, your left. Again, picking up a theme from the display, the message is that Jesus will return to the earth. And as the poster said on the display, the Bible explains that Jesus will physically return to the earth to bring about a dramatic world transformation for the better. This return as promised by angels when he left the earth some 2,000 years ago. This same Jesus shall so come in like manner. The Bible describes that there will be visible earthly signs that Jesus' return is imminent, and these, as it says, can be split into 3 subcategories: political signs, moral signs, and religious signs. So there's our link with the display background, and again, coming back to the focus for this evening, that we are to deal with the political signs. And finally, linked with the presentation, what is the world we live in? What's it like? Well, it's characterised by the things that we're bombarded with in the media, as has been indicated: war and civil unrest, global terrorism, widespread loss of governmental control, and nuclear struggle. I'd like just for a moment to reflect on what the world is like out there, picking up these 4 headings just very briefly. And first of all, so far as war is concerned, it's around us everywhere. We have the picture there that is on the display board. It's actually taken from the Persian Gulf War. As you can see, 2nd of August 1990 to 28th of February 1991, quite some time ago, but almost it was a catalyst for the situation that we find today in Iraq, because it led eventually to the later war, the war in Iraq, with the deposing of Saddam Hussein, the famous picture of the statue being pulled down, and supposedly the releasing of the people from oppression in Iraq. But that war is going on and on and on. And now the forces that were in Iraq are moving into Afghanistan because of the problems that are seen to originate from certain areas in Afghanistan. And as you can see there, a page from the newspaper just over a week ago highlighting the fact that now just over 200, I think it was 211 at the weekend, British soldiers have been killed with the war in Afghanistan, and there seems to be no end in sight. So far as the first battle was concerned, the Persian Gulf, Saddam Hussein described that as the mother of all battles. And in fact, the picture on the top left highlights the fact that he threatened to set fire to every oil well that was in Kuwait and to destroy the source of oil from that region, so far as other powers were concerned. So that's war. So far as civil unrest is concerned, again we have a similar gloomy picture. Moldova in April 2009, elections took place, but they were followed immediately by demonstrations because the demonstrators were claiming that the elections were fraudulent. We saw scenes in the news media with regard to Iran and the elections there in June of this year, how that they turned out by the millions, the Green Revolution, to highlight the fact they considered that the election had again been rigged in favour of the current President Ahmadinejad, and they turned out in force, as you can see. And at the moment the elections are going on in Afghanistan, and again there is the threat of, or rather the allegations of fraud to re-elect Karzai, who was seen to be the favourite so far as Western powers were concerned. So it doesn't matter what we look, where we look, so far as the political environment is concerned, there is civil unrest in so many places. Zimbabwe, not so long ago, was another place where the election results were called into question. So there we've got war and civil unrest. Global terrorism, images that are probably very familiar. September the 11th, New York in 2001, with the planes that brought death and destruction to thousands of people. The Iraqi war, which we've mentioned, the bombing in the tube bombings in London, and the bus that was bombed, again with hundreds of deaths resulting, and Sri Lanka again. Wherever we look, and those are just one or two pictures, but wherever we look, we seem to have the same picture of uncertainty and the spread of global terrorism enhancing that uncertainty. The next aspect that was mentioned in the summary was loss of government control. And again, we see the gloomy picture presented so far as the UK is concerned. Gross domestic product, you can see there, whether we understand it particularly or not, certainly red under the line is bad news. And it certainly was very bad news over a significant period with the credit crunch and the collapse of jobs. 1 in 6 UK homes has no work. As it says at the end of that slide, the number of workless households hit 3.3 million in April to June, a significant rise from a year earlier. Moving on from there, the picture of unemployment, February to July of February 1971 to July of this year, and again the picture of increasing numbers of unemployed, a very difficult picture, particularly for those that may be the victims of that situation. Moving on to newspaper comments with regard to the spending that is going on in this country to try and rectify the situation. Picking out the bit in blue, the warning that the UK government spending is getting out of control. So it seems to be that the answer to all the problems to get people into jobs is to throw money at various sectors such as the car market. Again, Northern Rock, a bank taken over in its difficulties by the government, and again it's reporting very considerable losses, as it indicates in the article there. The Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development has intervened in the debates that have gone on, and again, as it's said there, it's warned the UK government to impose swingeing spending cuts. It seems to be that we've been in a credit society where so much has been taken on credit, and the government has said we've got to tighten our belts, and the answer seems to be for the government to do all the spending, and again